Hi, this is my video 3 for the communication project. I worked with Allison, an 8-year-old third grader, who is very quiet, very rarely initiates conversation, very rarely responds verbally to conversation. So the target skill that I was working on with her is Allison will verbally respond 8 out of 10 times when asked a question, and will make one verbal request or comment per class period. So I used the Affirm Pivotal Response training and went through the data collection with her. We mostly did that in my classroom. I have her 3 times a week, and then my para has her another 3 times per week. And so we took notes based on what we were doing, how she was responding or not responding. A little background on her: I've known her since she was 5, when she was in my kindergarten class, so she is very comfortable with me. She has known my para, Hillary, since last year, so she's also comfortable with her. She's a bit less comfortable with her 3 third grade academic teachers, and sometimes their responses have not always been as conducive to her making responses as I would hope. So much easier in a one-to-one setting, as we all know, as compared to having 20 kids in a classroom. So Allison is in special ed for reading and for math, ELA and math rather, and she is delayed in a lot of her work. But this project made me wonder exactly what is causing the delay. When you ask her any question at all, she will sit for a good 5 to 20 seconds, and you can see her mulling over the answer. But if it's something she either isn't interested in or she just doesn't have an answer for you, she won't shrug, she won't make any kind of motion unless you know her. And then you can tell, okay, I've waited long enough, she's not going to respond to this. So I took the regular notes that we needed to indicate how often she was responding, which is very little. Now, when I changed the topic to something she's really excited about, such as cats, she and I share that love of cats, we could talk for 20 minutes about it and our entire session time would be gone. But she loved that. If she's with her family, her younger brother's in first grade at our school. Her mother is our dance teacher, so she has been coming to our school since she was a baby. So she's comfortable in that setting, but not so comfortable that she will blurt out an answer unless her mom is nearby or her dad comes up for lunch. She's a different kid whenever she's with her family. So I know that she can do it. It's just a matter of drawing some of that out. My concerns for her are that the teachers and the other students would not give her the appropriate time to answer, because whenever you have a big group of kids, even if you say, okay, Allison, what's the answer to this? 5 other hands are going to shoot up, and then 6 or 7 kids are going to blurt out an answer. And she is very polite, she's very patient, and if somebody else blurts out the answer she was going to say, she won't look upset, she won't look mad, she won't look sad, she'll just sit there and just wait quietly. So trying to get a classroom full of kids and a teacher who is pressed for time to wait on her is extremely difficult. And you need to have that consistent amongst all of the classes. So that's one difficulty that we faced. Another one is getting her to initiate a conversation. That was even tougher than trying to get her to respond, because even if I have snacks that she really likes sitting in front of her, she very rarely would initiate. She'll either wait until somebody asks her if she would like one, or she won't ask for it at all. So the typical motivators that you would use, do not apply to Allison a lot of the times. If I had brought my cat into school, then I think she would have initiated a lot of conversations. So that, I think, is going to be an issue long term for her, is to get her to initiate conversations. So that was kind of the far-reaching goal that I had for her on this project. So we didn't see a lot of gains in that. She did respond well to the pivotal response training suggestions. Number one, you've got to have planning. You can't just go in there and throw a project together or a lesson together and expect to get a response from her. So in teacher planning, if they want her to participate with the rest of the class, a lot of thought needs to go into, okay, what is going to get her attention? What is going to get her motivated? I shouldn't say motivated, because if you ask her to do something, she will immediately go and do it. Not quickly, but you can tell that she is on her way to go get it done. She follows directions like a dream. But if you want that verbal response from her, that is going to have to be planned out. Again, the wait time, PRT suggests 5 to 10 seconds, which is a lifetime for a teacher in a room full of kids. Doesn't seem like very long, but the answers come very quickly, much faster than 10 seconds. So that would have to be something that is taught to the class, creating an opportunity, which we kind of mentioned. Turn taking does well, but our school uses tribes, and one of the components of tribes is you are allowed to pass. So you don't have to answer if you don't want to, even if it's your turn. Therefore, if a teacher really wants a response from Allison, they're going to have to say, okay, on this time around, nobody gets to pass. Now, the concern is that that could upset her and you wouldn't even know it. She might not express any kind of negative emotions until she gets home. And by that time, mom and dad are like, we don't know what happened. The teacher hasn't said anything because she had no idea. So that's another concern, would be emotional well-being of Allison or any student who is having difficulty with this. So the last thing on PRT is to determine next steps. And I would say that's going to be true for every lesson that you do with Allison. Even as used to me as she is, and in a one-on-one setting, unless she has something on her mind, she is not going to initiate or maybe even respond. She will say answers for me if I just sit and wait for quite a long time. So that's a big concern for her. I do think overall the program was effective, even just getting the wait time and the understanding. She is not defiant. She is not a behavior issue. She does not need a BIP. She just needs patience. And that's the end of that. So I think her teachers need to be informed by the family and by the previous teachers. You're going to have to wait on her. And if you get upset, she's going to shut down and you're not going to get anything for quite a long time. And then just reading through the rest of my notes. Yeah, I think overall I wouldn't really have made any changes. I think this is something that's going to take months to get her to the target skill. This isn't something that's just going to be done in 3 or 4 weeks' time. And then it's going to start all over once she gets new teachers. It could also start over when she's in a different setting, when new students come in or favorite students leave. So there's a lot to consider, and sometimes that's very difficult for our teachers because we have quite a few who want to teach the in-the-box kids, and if they're not going to pick up the pace and go along with the rest of the class, sometimes the teachers are very resistant to that. So that's something else that I'm working on with my staff. But I'm going to include the graph because I cannot figure out my camera to turn it around to show you. So I will have everything included with the submission. Thanks.